And so at this point, I want to segue into this idea of anxiety versus nervousness. It's an idea I've been playing with as a mental experiment lately. Somebody, I can't remember their name, they said there's really only four emotions: mad, sad, glad, and afraid. And all the rest are just variations of that. And I tend to agree. And anxiety and nervousness are both just elements of fear. Right? They're just somewhere on the fear spectrum. There's words we give to different elements of fear. And I realized there's key differences, or at least in my definition of these words. And one of them leads to stress and the other one doesn't. Nervousness does not cause stress, but anxiety does. Anxiety and nervousness are different in two distinct ways. One is temporal, what's happening versus what is going to happen or maybe going to happen. And the other is control, like how much you can do about it. Now, anxiety is almost always about something that is not yet happening, and or you can't do shit about it anyway, or at least focusing on the bits you can't control. So if I'm anxious about something, I can't point to it. It isn't happening yet. It's not there or there or there. It's just in my head. I'm imagining it. It might sound reasonable. It might seem like a really logical prediction, but it is not happening. It does not exist anywhere but in my mind presently. Whereas nervousness, like I'm either doing it or about to do it. It's like right there. So if I'm nervous about going on stage, the stage is there, the audience is there, my name's up on the fucking call sheet, and I'm next, right? That's nervous. I'm not imagining shit, right? If anything, I'm just imagining the few steps I'm about to take onto the stage, but they're definitely going to happen. So this is real. Whereas if it was 2 nights ago and I'm lying awake, worried about stage fright and worried about people judging me, there is no stage, there is no people. What am I talking about? It's all in my head, right? That's anxiety. Now, nervousness is also about focus on what I control. So maybe I'm nervous about what I'm going to say in my speech. That would be nervousness. Like, am I going to get the words right? Am I going to get my point across? Am I going to sound reasonably believable? That's nervousness. Anxiety would be like, are they going to judge me? Are they going to like me? Like a few hundred people? No, you can't control that, right? Your best performance will still piss off somebody in that crowd, right? Like you're worried about something you can't do anything about. You can't get your hands around it. So anxiety will lead to stress because, again, it's just a fixation on what you can't control. You either can't control it because it's not happening, or you can't control it because it's too big, or something like that. Whereas nervousness is you've fixated, you're afraid, but you've got a face to your enemy. You can deal with this. It's something that you can control and is happening now. Right? There's nothing wrong with being nervous. Nervous doesn't stress you out. In fact, it tends to exhilarate you. If you really think about it, being nervous is just a feeling of being very alive. It's very easy to enjoy being nervous. Bungee jumping, performing on stage, asking out your crush. If you're focused on the right things, that can be a really enjoyable like thrill. Whereas anxiety, there's nothing to enjoy in anxiety, is there? You're just panicking about something that isn't happening and doesn't exist and probably will never happen. And even if it does, it's not going to happen the way you think it's going to, or anywhere near as bad as you think it's going to. And even if that does happen, you still can't do fuck all about it. So what are you thinking about? What are you worried about? Nothing. Just a movie you're playing in your head. And that leads to stress. And people who catastrophize and get anxious a lot tend to be very high stress, don't they? So one way to look at it is that allowing yourself to bathe in anxiety, which is a choice, is a form of self-punishment, isn't it? If you could choose to go and be nervous instead, go find something you can control that is happening right now and deal with that, and that is a choice available to you at all given times, then that would actually be an act of self-love. I think of it kind of like a metaphor where anxiety is like being dragged down a river, a wild, raging river. There's nothing you can do about it except cough and splutter and half drown and just worry about being in the river. There's nothing you can do except one thing is you can paddle slowly over to the side of the river and get out. And this does not mean get to a place where there's no fear, but go find something you can control. Go find something you can do something about. Right? How many people lie awake worrying about the climate and they've got emails they haven't answered? Emails are right there. Go answer the fucking email. But you'd rather imagine dealing with an impossible problem, which is like whipping yourself on the back. That's not an act of self-love. Whereas actually answering the email would be, even though it makes you nervous. If you're okay with being nervous, if you understand nervous is a massive upgrade on anxious, and that nervous is perfectly fine, that nervous is often the bridge between here and being satisfied with your behavior, then choose nervousness over anxiety by finding something smaller that you can control, that you've been putting off. Another element of the stress, which also leads to being unloving to yourself, is not seeing the truth of the way we're all living. Now, this might not apply to every single corner of the earth. Maybe there are some tribes living in the Brazilian forests who have got it right, but most of the rest of us live in a society and an environment that is a serious mismatch for our brains. It is actually weird to not be depressed and burned out in this way that we live. I mean, you think of a 9 to 5 job or primary school or high school. Those are such fucked up environments for the human brain. You put a monkey in one of those, a primate, in one of those situations where they have to sit still for 9 to 5 being lectured at or doing a repetitive, meaningless job over and over again, that monkey's going to go insane. It's not going to be a happy monkey. Well, we're fucking monkeys, mate, and we're not happy with it. Where there's always concrete under our feet, there's always fumes in the air we breathe, there's always people telling us what to do. Our tribe is so big that most of them are just a faceless mass of people who are a potential threat. Like, our brains aren't wired for that. So you got to like step back and understand that you're in a situation that objectively is bad for you. And you've got to do what you can about that if you want to love yourself. But also, like, there's a reason that life feels meaningless or exhausting, or that you're unproductive, or that you're fixated on money instead of just directly enjoying life. Been trained and conditioned to join this machine that does not suit the human psyche at all. Go ahead, find me a scientific study that says this way of living is good for us. Go ahead. In school, you're trained to obey rules and authority, even if you disagree with them, even if you have misgivings, even if you don't like what's being done. Why? Why should we have to do that? So when we become adults that do it. Most of us are living most of our time looking at a computer screen. Our brains aren't built for that. Our optic system isn't built for that much stimulation, for that much light, right? For that much information to just barrage our brain. We're not built for that. No contact with nature. When's the last time you held wood from a tree in your hands? When's the last time your feet dug into the dirt? That's what we're built for. I'm not being a fucking hippie here. I'm saying wearing shoes and walking on concrete and touching nothing but plastic. We're not built for that, right? No wonder we're fucking stressed. And worst of all, I think, is our disconnection socially. And this is a rather recent development. Social media, the big COVID wipeout. Love is probably the easiest thing to reduce stress. Love between people. Hugging friends, releases oxytocin. There's all sorts of studies and evidence that being connected with others cures loneliness, another major source of stress. And yet most of our connection now is with data on a screen, pretending to be a person. Fuck, it won't be long before we won't even know if it's a real person or not. How often are you hugging people? How often are you talking to them face to face? How often are you just spending time chilling with someone? Shit, even if you are going to watch a screen, have you got your arm around someone while you're doing it? As I mentioned before, following other people's rules instead of developing your own philosophy and your own values. Do you think you're going to find a meaningful, enjoyable life doing what some other guru thinks is the right way? Right? Most of the people who came up with these rules are fucking psychos. Right? And you're just doing what they said. I always find it weird that we're born into laws. That one, I actually agree with most laws most of the time. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. People get hurt if you don't do that. But no point was I asked, you know? I was born into it. Like, you can prosecute a 9-year-old for shoplifting. It's like, he's not even old enough to discuss what law means, and he's already in trouble for them. It's like, you're born into a world where somebody else made up the rules, and you got to follow them right from day dot. You don't even get a chance to, like, okay, take a week, read it all, let us know if you agree with it or not. And that's just the like secular laws of the country. What about the cultural laws of your family or the religious laws that your society follows or whatever? Like, you're just barraged with other people's ideas about right and wrong. When's the last time you figured it out for yourself and lived by it? And all of this, of course, leads us to the porn and the drugs and the gambling and the video games and all the other things we do to just try and decompress from this overstimulation and this boredom and so on. And so we actually fail to process normal human emotion, which again stresses us out. And it's again something we wouldn't do to someone we love. We wouldn't say, don't process your emotions, right? We'd give them time and space to figure things out if you were truly compassionate towards them. Do you do that to yourself? Because you don't do that with video games. You don't do it with porn. You do it with sitting still or journaling or going for a nice walk. Do you actually give yourself a chance to fucking process this nightmare that we're living in? Right? Even if you can't get out, can you at least process it and sort of find some wiggle room? Run alongside the cart. Are you a nice guy or people pleaser who wishes they were more assertive, more honest, and better respected by others? Since 2013, I've been helping people just like you discover their integrity and apply it courageously to build deep and meaningful connections, get respected by others, and become the confident person you've always wanted to be. Imagine being able to speak your mind without worrying what other people will think or worrying that it's the right thing to say, and being able to assertively stand up for yourself and your loved ones. Imagine never feeling the need to apologize for who you are or what you want, and being able to live carefree without shame or the I'm not good enough story in your head. Imagine going to bed knowing that you courageously took every opportunity available to you and you've got no regrets because you always know what you should be doing in every situation. I'm so confident in my ability to help people like you unleash your highest level of self-worth that I give people a free coaching session to test what I'm doing. In this 1 hour session, we will uncover the biggest barrier to your confidence, whether it's an awareness problem, you don't know what you should be doing differently, or it's a courage problem, you know what you should be doing, but you find it too intimidating. I will guide you to make a breakthrough with your behavior to get through that barrier in a powerful way without feeling terrified and without destroying everything you love. I've had some people find this first session so powerful that I never hear from them again simply because they didn't need anything more after that. It launched them into the highest level of confidence that they've ever experienced. And if that's the result you get, I'm good with that. As one client put it, this session was more valuable to me than 3 years of therapy combined. So if you're tired of trying to keep everybody happy, and you're sick of worrying what other people think of you, and you're concerned that your people pleasing and conflict avoidance is going to damage your relationships, then come and have a talk with me. Worst case scenario, you get to experience what it's like to talk with someone who actually understands what it's like to be you. I've lived the nice guy experience for decades. I know it inside and out. I know that pain. Case scenario, and very likely, you will have such a powerful insight into a behavioral change that you can make in the next 24 hours to significantly improve your confidence, relationships, and career. All I ask is that you be honest, open to change, and willing to try something new. Why wait another 10 years to discover confidence when you can do it today? Fill out the brief form below to apply for a trial coaching session. Do this quickly because there are limited spots each month, and then I'll get back to you to book in a time to talk.